Welcome back, my YouTubers, and this is Josh Trying Tech, and today we're going to be doing a little quick review on the Huawei Matepen. Model number is AF61. Now, if you watched part 2 of my Huawei Matebook E review, at the time I did not have this pen in to do my my full review for the tablet, so I mostly spoke about the pen experience with the Wacom Bamboo Ink stylus. This finally came in, imported in from China, and I was able to finally get it in like a day or two after my review was posted on the Huawei Matebook. This is not going to be like a full in-depth review. This is going to be more kind of a quick review, first impressions. As time goes along, I will probably do a more in-depth review, or at least a follow-up to this review. So without further ado, let's go on, and we're going to continue with this. So first off, as far as a design of the pen, it's overall very light, very pleasant to hold in the hand. It's a little bit thicker than most of the stylus that I've used. I've used the Surface Pen 2017, and I've also used the Bamboo Ink. Now the Bamboo Ink, this is the only one I've been able to use so far with the Huawei Matebook E. The Surface Pen 2017 will not work with the Huawei Matebook. I had that with the Surface Pro 2017, so I was using the Surface Pen, the new Surface Pen. Okay, but if you look just as a comparison, you see this. Okay, that's the Wacom. This is a little bit thicker to hold. Almost feels like either a thick pen or almost like you're holding like a crayon or a thick pencil. Okay, it does come with a replacement tip. I have not brought that out, but just keep in mind. Okay, autofocus. There you go. All right. Sorry, folks. My autofocus is having a little issue here. As you see, there's a tip that's almost like a pencil tip. And then there's another replacement tip or alternate tip that comes in the box with it. So speaking of what comes in the box, okay, so I'm not going to do an unboxing video because quite honestly, there wasn't that much in the box. All right. Pretty much all that came in there was the pen itself. So let's talk about what's not in the box. Okay, so I'm going to take this apart here so you can see. This actually charges using a micro USB cable, which would all be well and good. Okay, and that's where it fits into the top there for the laser pointer. I'll get more into that. It would all be well and good, except it told me to charge it with the micro USB cable, which it did need to be charged out of the box. So if you do get this, just bear in mind you will need to charge this thing. But you see there's a little micro USB slot. You plug that in and it charges off of that. The thing is, it came with no micro USB cable, and I thought at the very least it would have came with some sort of I guess maybe a USB-C to micro USB cable adapter, so that maybe you could at least charge it off the tablet battery if you were in a pinch or something. But it came with absolutely nothing. No USB-A to micro USB cable. Nothing. It's just a pen and a small little instruction booklet. One side was in Chinese and the other side was in very poorly translated English that wasn't really very easy to read. Okay? So what you're getting in the box is going to be pretty bare bones. And honestly, I think the major gig here for this is that you need a micro USB to charge it, but it didn't come with the micro USB to USB-A cable. And to me, that's a no-go. I mean, I would not, as a manufacturer, just assume that, okay, someone is going to just have a micro USB cable laying around. They might not. Maybe someone, all they own is Apple products. They might not have one. So the point being is, if I'm going to use any pen, especially one that I waited weeks for to come in from China, and I'll speak more on that later, well then it damn well better run out of the box, and it should have everything I need to get the pen up and running and to be able to start my use of it. For example, both the Surface Pen 2017 and the Wacom Bamboo Ink. So they are not rechargeable as far as a built-in battery. They use quadruple A batteries. Yes, quadruple A batteries. And they come with said quadruple A batteries. Now, granted, they're, not for the Surface Pen, but for the Wacom, they were kind of, cheap quality batteries, but the ones that came with the Surface Pro were Duracell, so that's good. But the point being is they came with batteries. So this needed quadruple A batteries. They came with 2 quadruple A batteries. So I could just open it up, put the batteries in, pair it, and I'm ready to go. Luckily I did have micro USB cables laying around, so it wasn't a huge deal with me, but it might be a big deal with you, and it's just something to caveat emptor, so to speak. All right. So that being said, it does have a built-in rechargeable battery. It does not use quadruple A batteries or any other replaceable batteries. So just keep that in mind. You will need that micro USB cable. So hopefully you have one laying around. Now let's get on to the actual pen itself and the experience. So a couple other things about the design. It has a couple things that some of the other styluses that I've used don't have, and it also is missing some things that other styluses that I've used for either the Huawei Matebook E or comparable products like the Surface Pro or even the Surface Go, their pen experiences do include. So first things first, you have 2 buttons here. Okay, and these are similar to the ones on the Wacom Bamboo Ink, but they actually have added functionality as well, and I'm going to get even more into that. So if you want to use it as a mouse click, you're going to press this top button here. If you want to erase something, you're going to press this bottom, the lower button here, this one that's closer to the tip. All right. This button here does not do what you would think it would do. So initially, I thought that maybe this button would bring up the pen menu, but at the end of it, you may or may not be able to see it, but that's actually, there goes the autofocus. That's a laser pointer. Okay. So that turns on the laser pointer. Okay. So it has a laser pointer on the end, which is useful if you're an instructor or a teacher and you do a lot of presentations. The laser pointer is a nice addition. And the other thing is, if you look, most of it is made out of aluminum, but then the centerpiece where your hand is supposed to grip the stylus is this kind of cheaply made, cheap feeling plastic. So that's the other thing that kind of got me is, this whole pen here, almost all of it's this aluminum, this really lightweight aluminum. And then there's just this cheap kind of plastic feeling grip. Okay. And it's not so much that it's, plastic. It's, I guess I would have liked something more than just the white plastic. It just looks and feels really cheap. Although the actual grip feel, it's a textured grip feel, almost like the texture of, I guess, wound thread, I guess is the best way I could put it. Anyways, the grip does feel overall pretty good. I will say that the buttons here being this pronounced make it a lot easier to keep from accidentally pressing them, as I often found myself doing when I was using the Wacom Bamboo Ink. If you look at their clicker buttons here, same functions. This is a mouse clicker. This is to erase if you're erasing. But if you see, it doesn't stick out very much. It's not very pronounced, and so I often found myself really accidentally clicking these buttons. And I'll actually review this pen more in depth, but like I said, this top button, this thing is going to turn on the laser pointer. It's actually got no actual in stylus functionality other than controlling the laser pointer. As I said, if you do presentations, that's cool, or it makes a fun little toy to play with your cats, as me and my children have found out. So these buttons here, and I'm going to get more into it as when I bring up the actual software for the pen. These buttons also have an added layer of functionality. So as I mentioned before, this button, if you're using it as a stylus, this is going to erase, and this button here is going to use as a mouse clicker. If you're like highlighting text or you're trying to click on something, that will work as a mouse clicker. All right. A couple other notes about this. I want to say this has tilt functionality. It appeared to have tilt detection. I will have to follow up on that. If I find out otherwise, trust me, I will post some just a kind of a, you know, like a fragmentary review and post any updates I've had. But I do believe it has tilt detection. I am not really like the professional creative type, but it did appear to detect it when I tilted the pen. All right. It did seem to pick up pen strokes better than the Wacom Bamboo ink. However, this has half the levels of pressure detection as the Surface Pen 2017 and the Wacom Bamboo ink. Both those pens have 4096 levels of sensitivity. This has 2048. So if you're a professional creative type, you're probably going to want to pick up a different pen. And if you're using the Matebook E, I would probably recommend the Wacom Bamboo ink. The only thing is the Wacom Bamboo ink, from what I am tracking, does not have tilt detection. If somehow you've got some different info, please let me know in the comments below. But from what I'm aware, the Wacom Bamboo ink does not. But there are some other Wacom styluses that will work with the Matebook E. So if you're using it for creative work, I would not recommend this pen. It's perfectly functional for note taking. It's fine for drawing doodles and just drawings in your spare time. But if you're using this for professional creative work, and you're a professional creative, I would not recommend this pen. And I'm going to talk more about that later on in my final thoughts. All right. But as I was saying, for the actual dual layer of functionality, these also work as mouse scroll up, scroll down buttons, and also work as clickers in PowerPoint presentations. And so I'm going to show you the scroll up, scroll down functionality both on web pages, which is really cool. So you don't have to always use your stylus to try to scroll with it. You can just use the button clickers, and it works as a scroll up, scroll down mouse clicker. And in PowerPoint slides, it works as a click forward and back, next slide, previous slide button. So we're going to go over that now. All right. So enough talk about the design. We're going to actually go into some of the things. All right. So let's see here. I'm going to open up. So the first thing you'll notice, and let me adjust the Matebook tablet here. First off, there is no button like on the Wacom Bamboo ink and the Surface Pen 2017. There's no top button that allows me to just bring up the pen menu. So that's kind of a gig on my part, because I think that's kind of a critical feature that we need to have. I should be able to just, with the button somewhere on the stylus, be able to just bring up the Windows ink menu. But it doesn't have it, so I'm going to have to click on the icon here. So we bring up the icon, and I have sticky notes, sketch, and screen sketch if I wanted to use screen sketch. Okay. And then we have some things. Looks like we have some apps for bamboo paper. Okay. That's suggested. And that probably is not surprising, because even though this pen is proprietary to use with the Matebook and the Matebook E, it is actually based off Wacom AES protocol. All right, that's why the Wacom Bamboo ink and the Wacom Bamboo Smart both work. So I'm going to bring up sticky notes. And one thing I did find for note taking, this thing is really enjoyable. It's a really good pen to use. I'm left-handed, and I had zero missed pen strokes that were not detected. So I'm going to show you here. Hopefully it doesn't push the tablet down. You'll have to forgive my sloppy handwriting. Okay, but as far as what I wrote, that's what it picked up. Okay, and I will say this, when it comes to writing notes, this is actually a better stylus. It works a lot better with the Matebook E than the Wacom Bamboo ink. When I was using the Wacom Bamboo ink, I found a lot of times that it would miss my pen strokes. I would have to go back, especially in OneNote. So I'm going to put this away, and I'm going to bring up OneNote. Did it come up? There we go. Okay. All right, so I don't know if the app crashed. I don't think it would. I was like nowhere near maxing out my RAM, but for some reason it just disappeared. Okay, so we'll go to Quick Notes. We'll create a new page. New page. I guess I'll just start writing. So, okay. So I start writing here, and it just created an untitled page. And as you see, it's detecting really all of my pen strokes, which is great. I used the Wacom Bamboo ink, and I was getting nowhere near the pen stroke detection. I often found myself having to go back. Oh, but we're not reviewing the Matebook E, we're reviewing the Mate Pen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase this. Okay. I didn't mean to write Matebook E, I meant to write Mate Pen. So what I did to erase there, there's a couple ways you can do it. In OneNote, you could just click on the eraser tool. Or, like I said, I just press that functionality, and I press this button, and while I'm stroking over those missed pen strokes or the things that I wanted to erase, it'll erase it for me, okay? So I'm gonna write a full sentence here, just so you can see. It's damn near. I'm gonna be honest. It's almost like, I hate to say it, but it's almost like writing on paper. As you see, I'm writing fairly quickly here. Okay, so I mean, I just wrote, that was a couple fairly long sentences, but it was very comfortable while I was writing. At no point did I accidentally press either one of these buttons, which I found myself doing with the, sorry, I'm going to be comparing a lot to the Wacom Bamboo ink, because with this tablet, that was my primary pen experience. And I will be comparing it to the Surface Pen 2017. So I think as far as taking notes, the Surface Pen 2017 is slightly better. But I will say, I found myself with the Surface Pen 2017 accidentally pressing the buttons all the time. And I never have found myself doing that with the Mate Pen. But as you see, this detected every single stroke. I didn't have to go back. I didn't have to rewrite anything. Unlike the Wacom Bamboo ink, which I often found myself having to do with this tablet. Okay, so I don't know if that's something because this pen was designed exactly for this tablet, so maybe they optimized it more for this tablet, or maybe it's just due to the design of it. Even though it doesn't have as many levels of sensitivity, it picked up almost every stroke. And this is the other reason why I'll have to double check, but along with what I've researched, I am fairly certain that this has tilt detection, but I could be wrong. And if I am, trust me, I will update the review and post any changes. All right, so we're going to close that out here. And exit out. Okay. Let me bring up my recent apps. We'll close that. Okay. Still got my sticky notes. All right, so like I said, just one of those things that would have been a really nice kind of quality of life improvement would be the ability to just bring up Windows Ink menu really quick and easy. Sorry, I'm trying to do this through the camera. Let's bring up there we go. Windows Ink. Okay, so we're gonna bring up the Sketchpad. This is just the generic like stock photo that comes with it. This is not anything I did. This is the sample picture. Okay, so let's see here. If you see here, let's change this to green. Change this to green, and we're gonna do some grass strokes. Okay, so as I press harder, it goes thicker. As I press lighter or quicker, it goes thinner. See that? I'm pressing hard and long. That's thick, quicker, or lighter. There we go. So as you see, there's not as many levels of sensitivity, but as I'm pressing harder, see that? That feels a thicker stroke. As I'm pressing light, thinner strokes. Okay. But as you see, I'm getting varying lines of thickness. Like I said, if you're using it for doodles, this will probably be, if you just draw as a hobby and you just want to, draw your animes. I like to draw my animes. Okay. So if you're just drawing stuff as a hobby, like on the side, this will probably more than do. However, if you're going to be using it for professional creative things, I don't know how well it's going to work for that. It might get the job done, but again, you're probably going to want to look at a more feature-rich pen. But as far as actual note-taking and just drawing doodles, it's great. It works fine. It gets the job done. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to now show you some of the mouse clicker functionalities as far as when you're web browsing and as far as when you are using it in presentation mode. So we'll go to that. All right, so first off, let's see here. We're going to bring it up in Chrome. All right. No. I don't want to do that. Let's see here. We'll bring up Amazon, and I want to scroll through stuff here. Go to browsing history, and okay, we'll go to the deals of the day. Wow, not many deals of the day. All right, let's look for something we can actually scroll through. Okay, so all right. We're going to look at prices for pre-orders of the RTX 2080. And overpriced. Okay. So here I'm web browsing. If you look here, I'm pressing this button. This scrolls down. So it's a little confusing because you'd think this would be this mouse scroll down button. No, it's this one. Okay, scroll down. And so instead of me going like this, which I can if I want to, but if I don't want to highlight anything or accidentally make a pen stroke, I could just use this to easily scroll up and down, and it works just like a mouse scroll up down wheel. Okay, so I want to click on that. Okay, scroll up, scroll down. Now I want to use this to highlight this so I can search this in Google. So let's see how this works, because I've been kind of hit or miss with this, and I don't think it's an issue with the pen. I think it's just an issue with Windows 10, because most of the pens don't work very good to do this. Okay, so that's only highlighting that, but copy. There we go. That's a little bit better. So we're going to search Google. Why is it doing that? I said search. Okay, so there is a downside to that mouse functionality, because sometimes if you're trying to use it as a stylus now, sometimes it can't differentiate. See, because it's still scrolling down. There we go. Copy. We're going to copy. And we're going to paste. Okay, so now I'm going to search for that. Okay, so that pasted it in the search button. For whatever reason, it's not bringing up the text box, and I don't know why. Okay, so like I said, sometimes that little mouse click functionality can kind of get in the way, because at certain times, unless I was right on it with the stylus tip, it was not being able to differentiate. So it can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing, but you do have both functionality, both as a stylus, a mouse clicker, and as a scroll up, scroll down. Overall, I found it to be pretty useful. More useful than kind of not useful, I should say, or kind of a pain in the butt. So let's see here. Let's paste in there. I don't know why my keyboard's not coming up right now. Anyways, so that's using it in the web browser, and now I'm going to show you it. No, that's still my sticky note. Now I'm going to show you it in PowerPoint. So I'm going to open up a recent PowerPoint presentation I was working on. Is it opening? There we go. Okay, so here I'm in a PowerPoint presentation, and it's working like a mouse clicker. So right now I'm pressing on it like a mouse clicker. If I don't have the stylus next to it, it will work just like a mouse clicker. Okay. So in presentation mode, this has a dual functionality as a presentation clicker. All right. Now, if I wanted to write on it, I'm not sure I want to write on this one. Hopefully it doesn't save my changes, but if it does, I can always erase it. So I'm going to make a note to add question slide. Oh, it missed a stroke there for sure. Don't know why I did that. That was weird. I don't know if that was a false palm detection, and if it was detecting the upper part of my palm, not slids. Okay, so see, if I make a mistake, I can use that front button as an eraser. Again, though, if you take the pen away and you're still pressing that button, see how it clicked? So that's something, again, it can kind of be a pain. Oh no, that's my palm. That's from my palm. It's detecting me as pushing the button to click forward, because there's a little menu down here. That's what's happening. So add question slide. So for me, I'm an instructor, so this functionality is pretty cool, because I used to have to make sure I'd bring a clicker or leave one in the classroom. But for me, it's just really helpful to be able to do that and have it all in the pen. So if I use this for my presentations or for my lessons, I could easily be able to do so without having to carry around a clicker or have one on hand. I'm just always going to have one. Also, again, the laser pointer, other than playing with cats, is very useful. When you have this projected up on the wall, you can use the laser pointer to bring attention to. However, one thing I want to bring up is that, you know, that's not necessarily necessary, because if you have it, you can click your pointer options and turn it into a virtual laser pointer. So you don't really need a pen with a laser pointer. Is it cool? Does it help? Yes. But if you're not doing presentations or meetings, or you're not doing them all the time, I mean, honestly, you can do this within PowerPoint. Okay, so you can turn your stylus into a laser pointer. But it's a virtual one, obviously. Okay. And then I want to change it back. Change it back. There we go. Pen. If I wanted to change it to a highlighter, I could. So if I was highlighting someone else's slides, I could do that here. And again, that was weird. That did have a little bit of a misstroke there. We're going to erase that. Okay. And I'm going to erase this. And again, so if you're, we're going to change this back to pen. If you're going to use the eraser, you got to make sure you have it on the whole time on the slides. Because if you're still pressing it when you take it away, it will click the slide forward. Again, just something that can be a slight pain, but it's not necessarily a deal breaker with me. I do wish that there was some way to maybe differentiate what functionality we're going to use it as. For the most part, it just auto detects it. So if it senses that the pen is away from it, so another thing we're going to talk about detection. If you see here, I don't know if you can see that, but I get within half an inch and it starts detecting it. Okay, so the pen detection with the tablet is pretty good. Okay, so we're back. So we went over the pen experience in Windows Ink, both with Quick Notes, with the sticky notes, with OneNote, and with along with the Windows Ink experience, we went over using it in Sketch, and we also went over clicker functionality both in web browsing and in PowerPoint presentations. So I'm going to conclude here. Overall, for the Matebook E, this is a very good pen. It does have a couple downsides though, and there's a couple things that, as far as quality of life, I really wish it had design-wise. One of the things that really is kind of almost a deal breaker for me, that really just sucks, is that there is no dedicated button to bring up Windows Ink. So every time I want to bring up Windows Ink, I got to bring up the taskbar if you have it hid, and I got to hit the Windows Ink on the taskbar. Okay, I should be able to have a dedicated hardware button here on the pen that I can just bring it up. Okay, so that's one. That's one of the major cons for me. The other thing is kind of a minor naggle, and I'm going to show you really quickly here, is that this thing has no sort of clip on it to kind of clip it on as a pen. and I'm going to show you what I mean. So I'm going to fold up the tablet here. All right. So with the Huawei Matebook E, there's no actual dedicated pen loop on the keyboard cover that comes included. So with this one, this is the Wacom Bamboo ink. This has a little simple pen clip. One, it looks like a pen, so you can stick it in your pocket or whatever and use it as such. And two, with this, I just clip that on there, and it kind of works as a little clip-on to my keyboard cover, so I don't lose my pen. And it actually stays on there pretty well. I mean, it might wobble around a little bit, but it stays on there. Unlike that, the Mate Pen has no such functionality. So there's absolutely nothing to click this or clip it onto. And unlike the Surface Pen 2017, it does not have any sort of magnet. Now, what I found accidentally, well, so the Surface Pen has a magnet that sticks it to. This one does not either. All right, but there's nothing to clip it to the tablet. Okay, so that kind of sucks. All right, that's not a good thing. When I spend $90 for a stylus for my pen, I want something that's going to help make sure that I don't lose said investment. Okay, so let's talk about the pricing too. All right, so I got this imported from China for about $89.99, so $90. I've seen it go as low as $75 on some sellers on eBay and some of the importer sites like Banggood and GearBest. Okay, so first off, you have to get it imported. There are no U.S. suppliers that sell this, meaning that even the ones that say they are selling from the U.S., they are, but they are getting it imported from China. So they're all Chinese importers, even the ones that say we ship from the U.S. No, they don't. They import it from China, and then they may be kind of a middleman that's distributing from the U.S., but they are importing this stuff from China. Okay, so all the stuff that you're going to get, you're going to have to wait at least probably 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to go on a boat from China, and it's going to get shipped to you. And you're going to eventually get it from China Post. So that's kind of a bummer, all right? Because if you need the pen, I had the tablet. I was able to get the tablet really quickly, but then when I ordered the pen, I ordered the pen only a few days after, and still I just got this thing, and I've had the tablet for almost a month now. Okay, so that's kind of a bummer. Price-wise, $90. Okay, $90 is a little steep for a stylus that offers what this offers. Now, there's a couple things that kind of add to the value of this. One, like I said, it is able to be used as a mouse clicker or presentation clicker. But if you are not someone who's an instructor or someone who gives a lot of presentations for meetings or whatever, it's probably not going to really be that big of a deal for you that it's able to do that. It comes with a laser pointer, but I could get a cheap laser pointer for anywhere for $5 to $10. I could get a PowerPoint presentation slide clicker for probably anywhere from $10 to $15, maybe $20 for one of the better ones, but that $20 one's probably going to come with a laser pointer. All right, so yeah, it would probably save me about $20 on the cost, but even that, I subtract $20 and what do I got? I got a $70 stylus. Now, is it nice to have all three in one device? Yes, absolutely it is. Okay, but again, it's missing some functionalities that I really wish that it had as a stylus for a Windows Ink device, especially a dedicated button to bring up the Windows Ink menu. If you're a creative, I would probably go for a different pen than this one. Wacom makes a lot of models that are both compatible with the Matebook and Matebook E, besides the Wacom Bamboo ink that I have here. All right, there's other Wacom models that will work with this tablet, and you will probably be able to get them cheaper and quicker than you would be able to get this. The other thing that kind of sucks is that while the Wacom while the Huawei Mate Pen is not the only pen that will work with the Matebook E, the Matebook E is the only tablet that will work with the Mate Pen. So if you have other Windows Ink devices, this is not an all-in-one device. Like say, even if you had other devices that had Wacom Bamboo AES digitizer protocol for those tablets or other Windows Ink devices, this would not work on all of them. At least not out of the box. You would probably have to do some sort of driver workaround in order to get them to work. I don't know if there's a way to do that. I've heard of some forums that have tips on how to do that, but it's not going to work out of the box. It will only work with the Matebook E. So if the Matebook E is the only device you have, great, that's fine. And this is a great tablet with it. And again, just a naggle, but it would have been nice to either have on the Matebook E something to clip my Mate Pen to, or something on the Mate Pen that I could use to clip to the keyboard cover on the Matebook E. Okay. Other than that, it's a good stylus. I am going to keep it for a couple reasons. One, as I said, the note-taking detection when I was writing was a lot more accurate than with the Wacom Bamboo Ink. And the other thing is, even though it's missing that dedicated home button, for me, the laser pointer functionality is going to be useful for me because I am an instructor. And the clicker for presentation slides and shows is going to be another useful boon for me. So now I don't have to carry a clicker and a stylus. I can just carry this. I can carry my tablet. I can hook it up through using a dongle adapter, and then just run my presentation off the Windows or off the Matebook E. Overall, I would recommend this pen with some caveats. Again, keep in mind, you are going to have to send this to Huawei to get it repaired, as the internal battery cannot be modified or changed by the user. So if you have battery issues, that's going to be a possible thing to be aware of, that you'll have to send it to Huawei for repairs. And again, it's going to go to China, and so you're probably going to be without a stylus for a while. Okay, so, and then the other thing is, you are paying a cost, whether they say free shipping or not. You are paying a cost when you have it imported from China. But other than that, and the lack of the dedicated Windows Ink menu functionality, this is a fine pen. It's really good for note-taking. It's good for productivity types. And you can see it's more focused towards that productivity market, because with the PowerPoint slideshow clicker and things like that, you can definitely tell that that's the kind of market that they're aiming towards. Not so much towards the creative types, but it might be able to work if you are creative. All right, but I think there's a lot other more feature-rich pens that Wacom makes that will work with this tablet that will probably suit your purposes more. Okay. Other than that, I want to thank you for watching, and I just want to say this is Tryin' Tech off the net, and I'll see you in it for the next one.